everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger, here with my new Empowered Moments video for the week of Monday, November 7th through Sunday, November 13th, 2022. For this week's Empowered Moments video, we'll be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. And for your special message card this week, depending on your stone of choice, it will be coming from the Black Moon Astrology cards by Susan Shepard. I chose the astrology cards because this week we have a full moon lunar eclipse. In fact, there's a lot going on this week, so let's get settled in and do an empowered moment to begin. So let's get comfortable in our chairs or our seats, wherever you're sitting or lying. Let's close our eyes. Let's relax our body. Take a deep breath and clear your mind of all thoughts of the day, the week, the month, the weeks past, as it's been quite an interesting journey lately. And let's visualize, sense, see, feel, or know that you're surrounded in golden white light. Golden white light of the universe, God's source energy, great spirit, all that is. The unconditional love, light, peace, guidance, and protection of the golden white light. And let's breathe that in deeply to every cell of our bodies. And as you exhale, letting go of all that your body, mind, and soul no longer needs. And in fact, this idea of releasing and letting go is very prominent at this time as we are in the transformational sign of Scorpio, with a full moon lunar eclipse coming up at 16 degrees Taurus, the opposite sign of Scorpio, where the sun is. Full moons are about completion, releasing, healing, letting go, transition. And the fact that we're in the Taurus-Scorpio axis makes that death and rebirth energies much more prominent. And the fact that this is an eclipse magnifies these energies and makes them even more intense and strong. So let's visualize or think about what it is that you want to release and let go of. It could be a situation, a mindset, a belief system, an emotional energy that you've been working through for a long time. Whatever that energy is that you want to release and let go of, visualize that you're tying that energy, whether again it's a situation, belief system, perception, emotion, tying it to the end of a balloon. There's a balloon string hanging down, and you tie that energy, and it can be any shape or color, or it can be a picture, it can be any sort of object that you wish to utilize for this releasing and letting go. Tie it on the end of the balloon string, and that balloon is filled with massive helium energy so that it travels up and away towards the universe, where it can be transmuted to the highest vibration of light. And in fact, call in your angels and guides of the highest vibration of light and ask them to assist in carrying that balloon with whatever it is that you wish to release and let go of, up and away towards the higher dimensions and universal energy, the cosmos, where it can be again released and transmuted to the highest vibration of light. Let's breathe that in. Breathe that intention into every cell of your body. As you exhale, that your breath is pushing that balloon up, up, up and away, allowing that to be released. And whenever you're ready, in your own time, you can open your eyes and return to this time and this place. And we should jump in here and look at our stones of choice for this week, because there's a lot astrologically to talk about. So let's look at the first stone of choice. I went into some of my packed away crystals. Yes, I still have many crystals packed away. I decided to pull some of them out. This one is alabaster onyx. Alabaster onyx. We normally know onyx to be a black stone, right? So this one, alabaster, is the white form of onyx. This particular stone helps to bridge a gap between the physical and spiritual lessons that we're learning. This is also a mind healer that provides us with mental clarity. Okay. Stone number 2, let's put that over here. Well, actually, we're going to show it one more time. Stone number 2 is this purple stone. This is called purpurite. Purpurite, purpurite. And this one helps to attune us to higher energies, higher spiritual energies. And it assists with transformation and metamorphosis, which is great Scorpio energy, right? Okay. And then our last stone of choice, I was able to find this beautiful slice of yellow fluorite. See that? It's a nice little slice of yellow fluorite. You can see my hand through it. So the yellow fluorite increases our logic and intellect, our creativity, and our understanding. So it's huge for the mental body, the mental realm, right? Our perceptions and thoughts. And it also stimulates the solar plexus chakra, not a surprise with that golden yellow color. It's sometimes called golden fluorite as well as yellow fluorite, stimulating that solar plexus chakra for confidence, courage, and empowerment. Okay, so again, your stones of choice are the beautiful alabaster onyx, the awesome purple purpurite, and then that wonderful slice of yellow or golden fluorite. Okay, so let's talk about the astrology of the week, everybody. I mean, we're full blown into Scorpio season right now because the sun is in Scorpio, Mercury is in Scorpio, Venus is in Scorpio. So we got these personal planets that rule Sun, our individuality and sense of self, Mercury, our mind and our perceptions, and Venus, our relationships and our resources like finances, all in Scorpio. So we start out this week. Actually, I think there's something going on every day. Monday the 7th is Venus in Scorpio, and it's in a challenging square aspect to Saturn in Aquarius. So Scorpio is a money sign, and Venus also can rule money and finances. Of course, she also rules relationships, and in Scorpio, she's very passionate and more tuned into the emotional and the desires of the relationship. Now that challenging square to Saturn, Saturn's about restriction, limitation, delays, holding back. So there could be some karmic lessons here regarding personal resources, money and finances, or partnerships, relationships. And also our sense of self and how we value ourselves. Venus also rules self-worth and self-value. So all of these things might go through some restrictive energies. Saturn has some good qualities too, but this is a challenging square. So we're going to look at the shadow qualities of Saturn, which are, again, karmic lessons, delays, restrictions, limitations. On Tuesday, the 8th of November, this is when our full moon lunar eclipse at 16 degrees of Taurus occurs. And Taurus, of course, is the opposite sign from Scorpio, where the sun is, which makes that full moon. And this is an eclipse, so it's magnified in its energies. It's more intense, it's stronger energies, it's longer lasting energies for what this full moon of completion, releasing, healing, and letting go is all about. Now, this full moon is opposite Mercury in Scorpio. It's connecting to Uranus in Taurus at the exact same degree. I think the opposition to Mercury is 1 degree off, which is still very close. But that connection to Uranus, the great awakener, sudden and unexpected happenings, freedom, liberation, is right at the same exact degree of the eclipse, 16 degrees Taurus. And then this eclipse also challenges or squares Saturn at 18 degrees of Aquarius. So that's a pretty heavy-duty eclipse, let me tell you. And because of the energies before, that Venus squaring Saturn, and even some of the energies from last week, and the energies after, it's going to have quite the strong effect for a few days. Now, again, Taurus is my money, my possessions, my sense of self-worth, my values, my possessions. Scorpio is other people's money and finances and possessions. And it's also, again, that sign of death and rebirth and transformation and regeneration and what's underneath the surface of the psyche, the shadow side of the ego. I mean, this is really a heavy-duty lunar eclipse. Also, on the same day of the eclipse, the sun connects with Mercury. So as I said, Mercury, I think, is at 15 degrees of Scorpio, whereas the eclipse is at 16 degrees. But later that day, the sun and Mercury do come together in Scorpio. So very deep sense of perceptions with Scorpio. Secrets, things that are hidden could come to light because the sun is shining its light upon it. There could be power and control issues, which Scorpio is known for. Could be some deep emotional stirrings, either within ourselves or emotional energies between us and other people. Again, death and rebirth, transformation and change. And Scorpio is one of those money signs, so there could be something with finances and money and possessions and resources happening as well. Also on the day of the eclipse, Venus, which is also in Scorpio, is opposing Uranus. Is that Venus or is that Taurus? Let me take a look. Nope, that's Mercury, excuse me. So Mercury, after it connects with the sun, it goes on to oppose Uranus. So again, this is a pretty heavy-duty eclipse. Mercury, which rules our mind, our logic, our thoughts, our communications, opposing Uranus could bring sudden and unexpected verbalizations from other people. Let's say communications that you weren't expecting. Now that could be people you haven't heard from in a while, that all of a sudden come into your scope of, present situation. This could be an unexpected communication from someone you do know, where it's just out of character how they're speaking to you, because Uranus can be very quick and sudden and to the point and electrical and have unusual, shocking sort of energies to it. This could bring insights like epiphanies and sudden awareness and aha moments within our own psyche. This could bring, again, because Mercury is in money sign Scorpio and Uranus is in money sign Taurus, could bring some surprising or unexpected news regarding financial resources or possessions in some way. On Wednesday the 9th, the sun in Scorpio now opposes Uranus. So we still have this theme of liberation and freedom and the sudden and unexpected and the shocking. And, it just kind of, it continues. And then we have, let me take a closer look at this. We have Mercury in Scorpio now challenging or squaring Saturn. So on Monday, we had Venus squaring Saturn, bringing up some relationship, perhaps issues or challenges. Now on Wednesday, the day after the eclipse, we have Mercury in Scorpio challenging Saturn. So again, there can be some challenged communications, or our own thoughts and perceptions are being challenged. We might feel a little bit depressed. and we have a hard time maybe seeing a different possibility. We have a hard time seeing, things from a different perspective or from someone else's viewpoint, and vice versa. Other people might have a hard time seeing things from our perspective. Okay, on Thursday the 10th, we've got Venus in Scorpio trine Neptune. Now, this is a nice aspect. Actually, we've got two really nice aspects this week. Venus trining Neptune can be this very deep sense of unconditional love and passion and spiritual awareness, spiritual perceptions, our clairsentience, just our emotions are much deeper and stronger in the spiritual sense. Then we move to Friday the 11th. Now the sun is taking its turn and squaring or challenging Saturn. Okay, so we had Venus squaring Saturn, Mercury squaring Saturn, and now the sun is squaring Saturn. So Saturn's bringing in some karmic lessons this week. Where do we need to take responsibility? Where are we feeling controlled or held back? Where are we feeling repressed? Where are we feeling disempowered? Where are we feeling like authority is kind of ruling over us or has us under its thumb? So that can be in many different areas of your life, and even again within your own psyche of your own thoughts and belief systems and perceptions. And then later on Friday, we've got Venus in Scorpio in an inconjunct to Mars in Gemini, which is very interesting because Scorpio and Gemini don't really have much in common. Scorpio is deep, passionate, empowerment or power and control, and Gemini is fairy-like and flitting and communicative and lighthearted and intellectual. So somehow these two planets, Venus and Mars, the lovers, right? They have to find some common ground and they have to find a way to get along with each other here, especially in communication matters, and maybe especially in communication matters regarding money and finances. And then on the 12th, on Saturday the 12th, we have Mercury in Scorpio, and that is now trining Neptune, just like Venus was in trine to Neptune on Thursday. So again, we have this deeper perceptions, deeper psychic abilities, our clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance is all really heightened. Pay attention to your dreams also during that time. It could be very insightful, very perceptive. Which, by the way, before we get to Sunday, all of the Scorpio energy going on, the veil between the worlds is thin, and we might be having dreams or visualizations or just thoughts regarding loved ones who have passed on, or even our pets, or our ancestors. This is very connected to those other spiritual realms. And then on Sunday the 13th, Mercury in Scorpio is in a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto rules transformation, regeneration, death, and rebirth. Scorpio, where Mercury is, also rules those same things because Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. Of course, this is with Mercury, so again, our perceptions, our mind, we're able to dig down deep in our psyche and understand patterns, subconscious patterns that we've held or other people are operating through. We're very perceptive at this time with the Scorpio energy. That's actually Venus, sorry. Yeah, that's Venus sextile Pluto. So that's going to be very much within relationship matters and financial matters. And then to end off the week, Sunday, we have Mercury in Scorpio in the inconjunct to Mars in Gemini. So we've got that weird Scorpio-Gemini energy going on again where we need to make adjustments with how we're perceiving things, communicating things, hearing communications from other people. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the messages from our angels and guides for the week. So the Syrian Starseed Tarot, we've got 3 cards here. Yes, only 3. And let's turn over the first card here. Okay, so the first card is Major Arcana 18, Luna. Well, I'm not surprised. Full Moon Lunar Eclipse. This is the traditional tarot card of the moon. Of course, in this deck, it's called Luna, which is another name for the moon. We see the full moon here in all of her glory, and we see this kind of wave, I want to call it almost a tidal wave starting to form, right? And water is our emotions and our feelings. Full moons kind of increase our emotions and emotional reactions. In Scorpio, even more so. In an eclipse energy, even more than that. So watch for our emotions to be on the rise, okay? And part of this is so that we can bring something up to transmute, release, and heal it, okay? But also other people's emotions and emotional reactions are going to be strong as well. Our intuitions and psychic abilities and even healing abilities are all going to be magnified and stronger now. Okay, so this eclipse, again, is very important and will last for the weeks to come. Whatever is initiated or whatever is activated by this full moon lunar eclipse, which again is paired with that new moon solar eclipse we had on October 25th, these energies of endings and new beginnings, transformation and change, are going to last for some weeks to come. So pay attention to what's happening now, and you'll understand more of what might be unfolding as we move into some future days and weeks. Let's take a look at the second card. So turning over the second card, okay, we do have the 10 of orbs here. Now the 10 of orbs is the suit of air, the suit of swords. So this is like the 10 of swords in the traditional tarot. Now, a lot of times the traditional tarot card, you see a person face down like this person is face down, and there's 10 swords sticking in their back. So it's not a very pleasant looking card. Here we have the orbs instead of the swords, so it's a little less scary looking, so to speak. But we're still talking about the mental realm, our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, how we're seeing something, how we're perceiving something. Now, even though this card seems like it's negative or challenging, and it can be in some ways, but it's the last of the minor arcana until we get to the court cards, the page, the knight, the queen, the king. So this is saying that we're at the end of something, we're completing something, we're, at the very tail end of whatever this energy is about. And again, it's about the mental realm, how we're thinking, how we're perceiving, how we're communicating, how we're being communicated to, perhaps. And when I look at this, and this particular card, I don't know, to me, when I look at it, one of the feelings I get, this person's face down, is that they're trying to avoid something. Now, that might not be part of the traditional meaning of the 10 of swords, but in this case, again, I feel like, is that person just like they're putting their head down in the pillow, they are tired, they're mentally taxed, they don't want to look at it, they don't want to deal with it, so they're like avoiding something. They're avoiding a communication, or they're avoiding their own thoughts. They're just trying to maybe like escape in some way in their own head in a different way, in a more positive way perhaps, or an escapist sort of way, because they don't want to deal with something. They're avoiding something. So that's one possible thing that might be going on for you. Again, there might be some challenges in the mental realm area, which we already talked about. And again, this very quite potentially, again with the full moon lunar eclipse especially, could mean that we're at the end of dealing with something. We're at the end of the arguments, the frustrations. We're at the end of the negative thoughts, the negative way of viewing something. We're nearing the end of the cycle of whatever this is about. So this can in fact be a positive way to look at this particular card. This though, coupled with this, we've got strong emotions and emotional reactions, and we've got some heavy duty challenging thoughts and perceptions going on here. All right, let's look at the last card for the week. Okay, so this is a little more positive. This is Major Arcana 5, and in this deck, it's called Guidance. In the traditional tarot, this is called the Hierophant or the Pope. Now, traditionally, this is about seeking guidance or information as you would from like a priest or a rabbi or a police officer or a lawyer. These are people in authority that we're seeking some sort of guidance or information from them, or seeking their opinions. Now, in this particular deck, it's more of seeking the answers within yourself, because you see it says guidance. And we've got a Buddha figure here that's deep in meditation, going within, excuse me, to seek guidance within oneself, to seek the answers within oneself, instead of seeking the answers from outside of ourselves. Instead of going to somebody else and letting them tell us what to do or what they think we should do. It doesn't mean you can't get an opinion or you can't get some guidance, but really what this is saying is, excuse me, with all of that's going on right now, that you should definitely be seeking guidance within yourself. And this has kind of a positive feeling to it, right? We've got light on the horizon. We've got the sunrise here. We do have the head of the Sphinx here, an Egyptian symbol, which can talk about star beings or our higher celestial brothers and sisters or ancient ancestors that we can tap into as we're seeking this guidance, tapping into some of our past lives, tapping into that higher consciousness, tapping into Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness energy as we're seeking this guidance about what's going on here this week, okay, and what's going on in the weeks or days past and the weeks or days to come as well. So I feel like that Mars in Gemini overall is really creating a lot of confusion as to what decisions to make or which choice to make, what path to follow. And so again, you could get, friends and family and authorities and spiritual counselors and whatnot, and they're all saying something different. And so this is why we may have to just really go within yourself. What feels right to you? Use your own tarot cards, use your own pendulum, use your own intuition and inner guidance to find those answers of how to proceed or what's the next step. Or maybe how to proceed or the next step is inaction and to wait and to surrender, to allow things to become more clear as you move forward. Okay? All right, so by the way, when I picked up my Black Moon astrology cards to use for the video, and I always kind of give my decks a little bit of a shuffle from the last time I used them. I just want to kind of, mix up the energy a little bit before starting the recording. A card flew out, straight up, face up, here it is. And in asking Spirit what that card was about, was that just a quote unquote accident, or was that specifically for me, or was it for the collective? They definitely said this was a card message for the collective before we choose your personal message of choice depending on your stone. So let's look at that card. The 10th house and the world. Now we have an eye here. We've got an astrological wheel up here at the top. I almost think that's the symbol for Scorpio here in the middle, but I'm not quite sure. But doesn't it from a distance at least look like the scorpion or the Scorpio energy? And here we have again the astrological wheel talking about time, talking about the seasons, talking about cycles of energy, cycles of astrological energy, universal energy. We've got the eye here, the all-seeing eye that's very perceptive with all the clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and all the other clairs that may not be mentioned. The 10th house is about, now from a more physical third dimensional perspective, it's about career. It's about career, it's about authority figures that are in a position of power over us. But if we look at it from a little bit higher level, it's also about our life path, our destiny path, the big picture of us, our soul, our journey out in the world. It can be about empowerment or where we feel disempowered, right? Power and control stuff with authority figures. But this is, about us empowering ourselves, seeing the truth of what is going on around us, seeing the truth of what's going on within us, and taking back our power based on that kind of psychic clarity of what's happening. So, 10th house again, career path, life path, destiny path, authority figures, power and control, leadership, who I am out in the world. And here we have the world, right? Who am I out in the world? What's my role out in the world? How do people see me in my role out in the world? But The world, when I look at this, also reminds me of Major Arcana 21 in the traditional tarot, which is called the World. And the World card in the tarot is about completion. It's completion in our soul journey regarding a situation, a circumstance, and energy within us. So I want to say too, again, full moon lunar eclipse is a time of endings, releasing, letting go, completion. Here the World tarot card could be about completion too. So again, there's this astrological timing that's taking place. And this is about our soul's destiny path forward with the 10th house. Okay, so that's a card message for everyone. Let's take a look at your message depending on your stone of choice. For those of you that chose the alabaster onyx. Alabaster onyx people. Message. This one's calling my attention. Virgo and I analyze. Okay. Now we don't have any, Virgo planets happening right now, but just the essence of Virgo and what does it mean? Well, Virgo's key phrase is I analyze. They like to look at details in a very logical, organized, and analytical manner. They like to schedule, they like to make plans, they like to have a strategy, they like to pick apart things to understand what's happening. In other words, like with the Scorpio energies and all of the unknown energies that seems to be happening with some of the other planets and their energies. This is about picking apart the situation or the circumstance that you're in, or picking apart even your own mindset and thoughts, perceptions, and belief systems to understand what's really going on. Let's look at all the little details here of what's really going on and try to make some logical sense out of it. Now, you might not be able to make logical sense or total logical sense out of something because there's a lot of the spiritual unknown energies where we just have to kind of surrender and trust and have faith as well. But I'd say this is about balancing logic and intuition. Virgo is logic, but all the Scorpio energy is more intuition and the intuitive energies. But Virgo, again, is great at making a plan or having a goal and taking step-by-step movements towards that goal. So even though we might be confused as to a decision or a direction right now, we can kind of make an organized plan, and I would write it down on paper with the steps that you would need to take in order to move forward. And maybe you have plan A and plan B, and maybe even a plan C. If I go in this direction, what steps do I need to take? If I go in this direction, what steps do I need to take? And so on. And then start to kind of dot the I's, cross the T's, and mark off the steps as you move through them. And what's going to happen is, whether it's really plan A or plan B, or again, plan C or D or E, once you start moving through the step-by-steps of the Virgo energy of what needs to be done in the plan or the strategy, there's going to be one that starts to flow more easily or flow a little bit faster or unfold, a little bit more clearly. And that's probably the direction or the choice or the direction that you need to go. Okay? All right. Actually, I'm going to put that back in the deck. Okay. So let's look at the special message for Purpurite people. Okay. I shuffled off camera, and I have to say this one was like, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. So this is what I'm picking. This is point of fortune, the point of fortune, and it says increase. Now, in astrology, the point of fortune, it's a mathematically calculated point in space, okay? It's not a planet or an asteroid. It's sort of like the ascendant, right? Most people know that the ascendant sign, that's a common term. The ascendant sign is a mathematically calculated point, right? It gives us a degree of a sign of the zodiac, but it's mathematically calculated. And so is the part of fortune. The part of fortune is where our greatest good luck or greatest benefits or greatest blessings comes into play. fortune, part of fortune. And it does say increase here. So I'm looking at the number here in this case. For some reason I was guided to look at the number, and it's 45, right? The 4 is, again, the earthly realm, making a plan, taking things step by step. The number 5 is more about free flow, freedom, liberation, many different possibilities, many different options. Somehow we have to put those two together, but the base number of 4 plus 5 is a 9. And the 9 says, again, to surrender, have faith, and trust. And so somehow I think there's blessings on the way. Increase, blessings, benefits are on the way, but you have to surrender, let go, trust, and have faith. Along with, though, taking the steps necessary with the number 4, but being free to have the universe redirect you or change the trajectory, as in the number 5. So that would be, I'd say, what this message is all about for you. But in the end, if you can somehow merge all of those energies, then I think that there's going to be some sort of positive increase. I mean, the part of fortune is about good fortune, right? So this is positive increase, positive benefits, positive blessings that are on the way. And you might want to look at your own astrological chart and see where your part of fortune is. It looks like this. It's a circle with a cross in the middle of it. So that's your part of fortune. And wherever it is in your astrological birth chart, which you have to know the birth time, when you were born, time-wise, to know the true part of fortune. This is going to tell you in what area of life and what kind of energy helps to bring you those blessings and benefits. So it's by sign and house that tells you, where are my greatest benefits coming from? Okay? All right, and then, okay, we got to put that back in the deck too. And then the yellow fluorite people. Yellow fluorite, golden fluorite, special message for yellow or golden fluorite people. Nothing's this one, okay, a bottom, popping up. Solar eclipse. Okay, solar eclipse, revolution. Now we're this week having a lunar eclipse, but if you go back to October 25th when we had the new moon solar eclipse, what was going on? What was happening at that time? That solar eclipse was at 2 degrees Scorpio. Where does 2 degrees Scorpio fall in your chart? I'm having an eclipse special, by the way. You get a 15-minute eclipse reading on how the new moon solar eclipse and full moon lunar eclipse is affecting you. So you might want to sign up for my newsletter to get the coupon code. But the solar eclipse and revolution, well, revolution is like, to me, it's like standing up, taking charge of your life, taking responsibility. Like, I'm ready to have a revolution here. I'm ready to empower myself. I'm ready to take charge of my life. I'm ready for a positive new beginning, darn it, right? Solar eclipse is magnifying that energy. So go back again in time to that solar eclipse, move forward to this week's lunar eclipse. See what's going on in your life, what situations are changing, what circumstances are unfolding, what's happening in your relationships or your job or your career or in your finances or in your home and family, what's happening within yourself, right? It's time to take your power back. You know, revolution isn't about fighting with somebody else or fighting against anything in particular. It's just about owning your power, being a sovereign being and owning your power and taking charge of your life and just making things happen. So we're still in the solar eclipse energies. As I said, it lasts for weeks to come here. So you can still initiate a new beginning for yourself. There is completion energies coming with the lunar eclipse, but initiate a new beginning for yourself in your personality and your style of how you operate in life, in a situation, in a relationship, in a positive way, right? So take charge and make something new happen. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this wonderful, powerful week of this Empowered Moments video. Sending you all lots of love and light and many, many blessings in the weeks to come. And until we come again together next week, don't forget to watch the monthly Empowered Moments video for the whole month of November to see what's going on overall. Blessings, everyone. Love and light.